The crowd roared so loud it felt like thunder rolling through the walls. Flashes of cameras lit up the hall like 1,000 tiny suns. People stood on their chairs, waved their hands, and shouted one name again and again. Keanu was supposed to be a press conference for their new movie. Both Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas had worked hard for months on this film. Both of them had poured their hearts into it. But as they walked onto the stage together, side by side, all the attention went to him. Ana smiled, but it didn't quite reach her eyes. She clapped softly for Keanu too, standing just a step behind him as the audience screamed, "Ah!" It wasn't anger in her face. It was something quieter, kind of sadness she tried to hide. Keanu felt it. He had been in this industry for years. He knew the cheers. He knew the spotlight. But he also knew something wasn't right. He turned slightly and looked at Ana. She gave him a polite nod, her smile still in place, but her hand stayed at her side. No one was cheering for her. Not yet. Keanu stepped forward to the mic. He was supposed to say a few words, thank the crowd, and start the evening. He held up one hand. The room fell into a hush. The cameras paused. People leaned forward, confused. He pointed gently behind him. "Before we start," said his voice calm and strong, "I want to say something. I see so many of you cheering, and I'm grateful. I truly am. But this film isn't just mine. It's ours. And if you love what you saw, if you felt anything at all, then you need to know something." He paused, turning fully to Ana. "This woman," he said, "was the soul of the movie. The heart of every hard scene. It's the reason I was able to give what I gave. If you're going to cheer, please, let's do it right. Clap for Ana first." For a second, there was silence. Awkward, unsure. Then from somewhere in the crowd, a single pair of hands began to clap. Then another, then another. And soon, the room erupted. Not just in noise, but in warmth. Ana stood frozen, her eyes widened, her lips parted in shock. She wasn't used to this. It's not like this. The applause kept growing. Someone shouted her name. Someone else held up a handmade sign with her face on it. And for the first time that night, she was seen. Tears filled her eyes, but she blinked them away quickly. She stepped forward, still stunned, and joined Keanu at the mic. "Thank you," she whispered. "I didn't expect that." Keanu gave her a small smile. "You deserved it." The press conference began after that, but something had already shifted. Ana was no longer standing in the shadow. Not tonight. What the crowd didn't know what Keanu did was that this wasn't the first time Ana had felt invisible. The journey to this moment had been long, full of quiet pain and silent effort. The story behind her smile was filled with rejection, self-doubt, and nights where she thought of quitting. And now, they would all know. Months earlier, Ana had almost walked away from the project. No one knew that, not even the director. Had come into the role with excitement, but something about the atmosphere made her shrink. People still saw her as a pretty face, not a real artist, not a partner. She had gone home after a long shoot day, closed her door, and cried. The next morning, Keanu knocked on her trailer door. He held a coffee in one hand and a script in the other. "You were brilliant yesterday," he said. Ana looked at him with tired eyes. "You mean that?" "I never say things I don't mean," he replied. And from that day, something began to change. Keanu started staying behind after shoots. He practiced lines with her, encouraged her ideas, and most importantly, listened. When she brought a quiet suggestion to the director about a key scene, it was Keanu who said, "Listen to her. She sees something we don't." Soon, her confidence grew. But the world outside the set hadn't caught up yet. Ana had always been polite, kind, never loud or demanding. But sometimes in Hollywood, quiet meant overlooked. And tonight, as the crowd finally clapped for her, the years of silence cracked a little. Later that evening, after the event, Ana stood alone on the balcony. Outside the venue, the city lights shimmered below. She leaned against the railing, breathing in the cool night air. Keanu walked up beside her. "You're all right?" he asked. Ana nodded slowly. "You didn't have to do that, you know?" "Yeah," he said. But I wanted to. She looked at him. Why? Keanu shrugged. Because I've been where you are. And because I believe in you. She turned her face away, suddenly emotional. Thank you, she whispered. He didn't say anything back. Just stood with her, quiet, present, the kind of presence that says more than words. In that moment, Anna felt something shift inside her, not just because the crowd had clapped, but because someone had reminded her of her worth when it was easiest to forget. The next morning, headlines exploded. Keanu Reeves stops crowd to honor co-star Ana de Armas. Interviews followed. Journalists asked her how she felt. Fans sent messages. Suddenly, she wasn't invisible anymore. But what no one knew yet was that the real story was just beginning. And it wasn't about fame. It was about worth and friendship. And what happens when someone kind enough to notice decides to lift you up? Anna would never forget that night, and soon. She would get her chance to return the gesture. The morning after the press conference, Anna sat at her kitchen table, still in her pajamas, her phone buzzing nonstop. She didn't want to look at it at first. She was scared. Scared it was all too good to be true. Scared someone had twisted the moment into something else. But curiosity won. When she opened her phone, it was like a flood. Comments from strangers, fans from around the world. People saying they had never noticed her before. But now they saw her. They saw the strength in her quiet performance. They saw the heart behind her roles. One woman had written, I watched you in silence before, but last night I heard you speak without saying a word. Thank you. Anna stared at the screen, motionless. Her heart swelled, and broke a little too. All those years working, hoping, waiting to be seen. And now, one moment changed everything, but it wasn't just one moment. It was Keanu. He hadn't just told the world to clap for her. He had believed in her long before the claps came. That belief had started a ripple she couldn't stop now. On set the next day, the energy had shifted. The director greeted Anna with a warm smile instead of a distracted nod. Crew members complimented her scenes. The makeup artist even said, You know, Anna, my daughter wants to be like you now. Anna blinked. Me. Yeah, not just because you're pretty, because you carry yourself like you know who you are. Anna didn't know what to say. She didn't always feel that way. But maybe that's what others needed to see. Maybe the quiet ones carried more than the world ever noticed. Keanu arrived a bit late. As usual, with his usual calm smile, he nodded to Anna, and she nodded back. Nothing more needed to be said, but that day, something unusual happened. There was a scene they'd been struggling with for weeks. It wasn't working. The chemistry felt off. The director wanted intensity, but something about the setup just felt cold. Forced Adana spoke up. Can I try something? She asked. The crew paused. The director raised an eyebrow. Keanu leaned back in his chair and smiled. I think we should let her, so she did. Anna took the scene in a new direction. She changed her tone, slowed the rhythm, brought a softness, a broken kind of strength that hadn't been there before. When the scene ended, the room was silent. And then, applause from the director, from the camera crew. Even the boom mic operator clapped. Anna laughed, shocked. I was just trying something different. You weren't just trying, the director said. You were leading. Keanu stood beside her, hands in his pockets. He didn't say much. He didn't need to. That evening, as the sun dipped below the skyline, Keanu and Anna sat on the edge of the studio rooftop, eating takeout from paper boxes. The sky was painted with soft pinks and oranges. You changed today, Keanu said between bites. Anna raised an eyebrow. What do you mean? You walked in like someone who knew her voice mattered. Anna looked down at the box in her lap. I'm still learning how to believe that, good Keanu replied. Because that means you'll use it wisely. They sat in silence for a while, the wind brushing past them. Can I ask you something? Anna finally said. Anything. Have you always been this? Grounded. Keanu chuckled softly. Not even close.
Oh.
I used to be lost in the noise. Thought fame was a measure of worth, till I realized the quiet things matter more. Listening, lifting others. Anna nodded slowly. Anna nodded slowly. I want to be that kind of person. Keanu looked at her, serious now. Then? Don't wait. You already are. A week passed, and interviews poured in. Anna started getting her own solo requests. Magazines, podcasts, panels, one interview. Those stood out. A live broadcast. Anna was nervous. She hadn't done anything like it before. The host was famous for asking tricky questions, and the studio was filled with a live audience. Keanu offered to come with her. I'll sit off stage, he said, just in case. Anna smiled. Always do that. What? Stand by the side. He nodded. Sometimes that's where the real support happens. Anna took a deep breath and walked onto the stage. The lights were hot. The room was packed. The host welcomed her, cheerful as always, but a little too polished. He dove into questions quickly, about the movie, about fame, about Keanu. Then came the uncomfortable part. Some people say Keanu carried the film. It's his name that brings the magic. How do you feel about that? Anna's smile faltered. The host continued. I mean, it's not a secret. He's the star. Do you ever feel like you're just lucky to be in the same frame? The room tent, Anna? Looked toward the side of the stage. Keanu sat there, watching, calm, not panicked. Just waiting, Anna turned back to the mic, and this time, her voice didn't shake. Double quotes, I think Keanu is incredible, she said. He brings magic wherever he goes, but magic isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. Sometimes it's found. In the moments no one claps for, the host blinked. Anna went on. I didn't come to Hollywood to be the loudest voice. I came to tell stories. And sometimes the best stories come from those who've been overlooked. The audience held their breath. Anna smiled gently. So yes, I'm lucky. Lucky to work with someone who claps for others first. I hope someday someone says that. About me too. The crowd erupted in applause. And this time, it was just for her. Keanu clapped from the wings. His eyes proud but quiet. When they left the studio, Anna was glowing. I was scared, she said. You didn't sound scared, Keanu replied. I think I finally realized something. What's that? That being seen doesn't mean being the loudest. It just means standing when it matters. Keanu nodded, and you stood. Anna looked up at the sky. The stars were beginning to peek through the city haze. Thank you, she said again. Keanu smiled. Don't thank me. Just promise me one thing. What? When it's your turn to? Lift someone else. Do it. Anna didn't hesitate. I will. 2 weeks later, Anna sat on the floor of her living room surrounded by printed fan letters. They came in from all over the world. Brazil, Egypt, South Korea, even Iceland. Some were long, filled with personal stories. Some were short, just a few words that said everything. Thank you for being strong. I finally saw myself in you. You made me feel less invisible. She held one letter close. It was from a girl named Maya, who wrote about being shy and overlooked at school, how she always felt like her voice didn't matter. She had watched the press conference replay over and over again, crying every time Keanu stopped the crowd and lifted Anna's name. I thought no one would ever cheer for someone like me, Maya wrote, but that moment changed everything. Anna wiped a tear from her cheek. She'd never thought she'd matter to someone she'd never meet, and yet, here it was. But behind the letters and the smiles, something else was happening. A rumor had started. Small at first. Then it grew. Some online blogs began suggesting that Keanu's praise for Anna wasn't real, that it was scripted. A publicity stunt. People dug into old interviews, twisted quotes, and made it seem like there was tension between them. Like Anna had demanded attention, like Keanu had been forced to act kind. Anna saw the headlines. Did Anna set Keanu up for sympathy? Fans question if Keanu's gesture was fake. Insiders say Anna wanted more screen time. None of it was true, but the damage had started. Suddenly, the same internet that lifted her up began to turn. She tried to ignore it. She kept smiling during interviews, kept answering questions with grace. But the fire was building behind her eyes. One night, she was on set, shooting a difficult emotional scene. It was a breakdown moment, the kind that drains you. She gave it everything. She cried, shook, collapsed to the ground in the scene's final seconds. When the director called cut, the room was quiet. But instead of applause, she heard a whisper behind the camera. Maybe a little too dramatic. A crew member, not even trying to hide it. Anna froze. Keanu, who had been standing nearby, waiting for his scene, heard it too. He looked up slowly, his eyes hardening not with anger, but with a quiet kind of disappointment that felt heavier. He walked over to Anna, crouched down next to her, and said softly, "You were brilliant." Anna blinked. Her throat was tight. "It doesn't matter," she whispered. "They'll say I was faking it anyway." Keanu stood up and turned toward the crew. He didn't shout. He didn't raise his voice. He just said, "If someone puts their soul into a moment, you honor it, or you step aside." The room fell silent. Anna stood up slowly, still shaking, and walked off set. Later that night, Keanu knocked on her trailer door. Again, Anna opened it, eyes red. "I don't know how you do it," she said. "Do what?" "Stay calm. Stay kind. When people throw dirt at you." Keanu looked at her. "Because if you throw it back, you start to live in it. And I'd rather build something out of it." Anna sat down, her voice small. "They're saying I planned everything, and I wanted to use you. I know you didn't. But what if they never stop?" Keanu took a deep breath. "They might not, but the people who matter, they see you. They know." Anna looked down at her hands. "I didn't ask for any of this. Tell a story to do my work. Tell a story." "Then keep doing it," he said. "And let your work speak louder than the noise." A few days later, they were invited to a film school to speak with young actors. Anna didn't want to go. She felt exposed, unsure. "You'll be helping people," Keanu said gently. "Isn't that why we do this?" So she went. The school was small. The students were wide-eyed. And when Anna walked into the room, the applause surprised her. Not loud, like the premiere. Not wild, but warm, real. They sat in a circle. No cameras, just voices. Anna listened as students asked questions. About auditions, rejection, self-doubt. She didn't pretend to have all the answers. She just told the truth. "I still doubt myself," she said. "I still cry sometimes. But I've learned that you don't need to be loud to be powerful. And kindness doesn't mean weakness." One student, a girl named Rena, raised her hand. "How do you handle it?" "When people lie about you." Anna paused, looked around the room. "You let your truth speak slowly," she said, "'cause lies run fast, but truth never runs out of breath." After the session, Rena came up to her. "Can I give you something?" she asked. Anna nodded. It was a small paper crane, folded with care. "I make them when I'm scared," Rena said. And today I wasn't. Anna held the crane in her palm. "For a long time, thank you," she whispered. Keanu was watching from a distance. When Anna joined him, he smiled. "Shh. You changed her life." Anna shook her head. "She changed mine." A week later, Anna did something no one expected. She wrote a letter. Not to the media, not to her critics. To Maya, the girl who had sent the first fan letter. Anna posted it online and written. "Dear Maya," it read, "I was like you once. Quiet, unsure, and sometimes I still am. But you reminded me that being seen is a gift, using that light to help others. That's the real honor. Thank you for seeing me. I see you too. Love, Anna." The internet didn't know what to do with that. Some mocked it, some cried, but the world listened. Keanu and Anna returned to set with a quiet energy. The rumor storms began to fade. Not because they fought back, but because they didn't play the game. They just kept showing up. They kept being real. And one afternoon, after another perfect take, the director clapped and said, "Anna, you carried that scene." Anna smiled, her heart still soft but stronger. Now, in this time, no one whispered anything. They all clapped, and not because Keanu told them to. They clapped because they saw her, finally. The premiere was only 5 days away. The studio was buzzing. The final touches were being added. The film had already tested well with preview audiences, but the real test was still to come the night the world would watch, judge, and post their opinions within minutes. Anna was quiet during rehearsals, not because she was nervous, but because she knew how quickly things could change. People could cheer for you one day and doubt you the next. She had learned that already. Fame was never stable, but self-worth, that had to come from something deeper. Keanu noticed her silence. They were sitting in their shared trailer, eating lunch between scenes. "You're thinking a lot," he said. Anna looked up always. He smiled. "Want to share?" Anna set her fork down. "I just keep wondering if the film will be enough. If what we gave will actually reach people, or if they'll only see the surface. They'll see what they're ready to see," he said gently. "We can't control that. All we can do is give honestly and let the story live its life." Anna nodded slowly. "I want this to mean something." Keanu looked at her, his tone calm but clear. "It already does." On the night of the premiere, the red carpet stretched 4 blocks. Reporters stood in clusters, microphones ready. Fans packed behind barricades, holding posters and calling names. Flashes popped in every direction. Anna stepped out of the car wearing a simple but elegant black dress. Her makeup was soft, her expression focused. She paused as the cameras turned toward her. She didn't pose. She didn't wave wildly. She just stood. And that was enough. Keanu exited next. But the crowd went wild. People shouted, reaching for autographs, but Keanu didn't move toward them right away. Instead, he looked over his shoulder, waiting for Anna to join him. When she did, he held out his arm. She took it, and the moment was caught in dozens of cameras. A picture that would go viral later. Keanu Reeves, it's one of Hollywood's most beloved stars, standing beside Ana de Armas, not in front of her. As equals, inside the theater, they were ushered into their seats. The lights dimmed. The film began. Anna's heart pounded through the first few scenes. She could barely breathe. Every moment felt sharp. Every pause on screen felt like an eternity. Then something strange happened. During one of her quietest scenes, one where her character didn't speak, just looked out a window in silence, the audience grew still. No coughing. No whispers. No shifting. Just silence and attention. When the scene ended, she heard someone in the back whisper, "Wow," and something broke loose inside her. She wasn't afraid anymore. The movie ended with applause. Real, standing applause. The kind that didn't feel forced. The kind that started small, then spread. Keanu stood and clapped too, but his eyes were on Anna. Later that night, during the after-party, she found a quiet spot on the balcony again. She liked the peace. The city below looked like a field of tiny lights, all blinking in different rhythms. Keanu joined her minutes later, holding 2 glasses of sparkling water. "You were extraordinary," he said, handing her one. Anna accepted. You always say that, because it's always true." She leaned against the railing. "Do you think people saw the message?" "I think some did. And those who didn't, maybe it'll catch them later." Anna turned to him. "I still don't understand how you stay this calm." Keanu shrugged. "Because I've already lived through the noise, and I know it passes." Anna was quiet for a moment. "Keanu," she said softly, "I never told you this, but before this film, I was thinking of quitting." Keanu didn't react. He just waited. "I thought maybe I wasn't meant for this," Anna said. "Too many auditions that went nowhere. Too many scenes where my name wasn't even on the poster. I was tired." Keanu sipped his drink. "What changed?" Yana looked at him, eyes shining. "You." Kiana's smile was small. "You changed you." Yana shook her head. "You reminded me who I could be." They stood there together, not needing to say more, but something else was coming, something unexpected, something neither of them had prepared for. The next morning, Anna received a call from her manager. "You're not going to believe this," the voice on the other end said. "The film just broke pre-order records." "Nana," they're asking. "For you," Anna blinked. "What do you mean?" "You've been invited to speak at the Women in Film Global Summit, keynote solo." Anna felt the world spin a little. "Me, yes you." The summit was 2 weeks later. Hundreds of people, all eyes on her. Anna stood behind the curtain, waiting to be introduced. Her hands trembled slightly, but she steadied them with a breath. Keanu was in the audience, not on stage, just there, watching, supporting. When her name was called, the crowd applauded. Not wild, not star-crazy, just warm and full of respect. Anna walked to the podium, looked out at all the faces. Then she began. "I want to tell you a story," she said, "not about fame or film, but about silence." She talked about what it meant to feel unseen, to doubt yourself, to question your worth in a world that measured value in noise. "But then," she said, "someone clapped for me when no one else did. And it reminded me that kindness, quiet kindness, can echo louder than anything." People were crying. Anna didn't read from a paper. She just spoke truthfully, softly, powerfully. "You don't have to fight to be heard," she said near the end. "You just have to speak when it matters. Stand for someone else when they need it most." The room erupted a standing ovation, and in the very back, Keanu clapped first. Afterward, Anna walked off stage into the arms of her team. Reporters asked for interviews, photos, quotes, but she just walked over to Keanu. "I did it," she said, voice shaking. "You always could," he replied, and then she reached into her purse and pulled something out, a folded piece of paper. Keanu raised an eyebrow. "What's that?" She smiled. "A letter to a young actor who feels invisible right now. It's their turn next." Anna's speech at the summit didn't just make headlines, it made ripples. Clips of her words spread across social media. One quote in particular was shared millions of times. "You don't have to fight to be heard." Young actors shared it. Teachers shared it. Mothers, students. Even people far outside the film world found strength in it. But what made the biggest impact wasn't just her speech. It was what came after. Anna started writing letters, not for publicity. Not for press, just handwritten notes to young artists around the world. Her manager didn't understand it at first. "Anna, we need to focus on your next role," he said. "These letters, what are they even for?" Anna smiled. "They're for the girl I used to be, the one who thought no one saw her." Keanu watched all of it quietly. They didn't see each other every day anymore. The film had finished. Interviews were slowing down. New offers were coming in fast. But their connection hadn't changed. One afternoon, Anna called him. "Can we meet?" she asked. "Of course," he said. They met at a small park in the hills. No cameras, no fans. Just a bench under an old tree and the sound of wind in the leaves. Anna sat down beside him, holding a folder in her lap. "I've been thinking," she said, "about what you said, about using light to lift others." Keanu listened. "I want to start something, not a charity, not a foundation, something simpler." He nodded. "Go on." "A writing room," she said. "For voices that aren't loud enough yet, young people, especially women, from places no one looks at. I want to give them tools, space, safety, and belief." Keanu's eyes softened. "What do you need from me?" Anna smiled. "Just your name." He chuckled. "You have more power in yours now than you think." "Maybe," she said. "I want people to see we're doing it together. That kindness isn't a trend. It's a choice." Keanu looked at her for a long moment, then said, "You've already built it, haven't you?" Anna nodded. "Have a space. A team. We're calling it the Quiet Light." The first workshop happened a month later. 10 girls, aged 13 to 19, from different backgrounds, different countries, different dreams. Anna walked into the room with her hair tied back, wearing jeans and no makeup. She wasn't there as a celebrity. She was there as someone who had once been ignored too. "This is your room," she said. "This is where your voice begins." The girls were shy at first. They scribbled words quietly. They looked around, unsure if they belonged. Then Keanu arrived. He didn't speak right away, just sat in a corner and listened. One of the younger girls, a quiet girl from Sri Lanka named Rumi, finally asked, "Why are you here?" Keanu smiled. 'Cause I believe you're going to write something the world needs. Rumi stared at him. Me, yes, he said. You. Over the next weeks, the workshop became more than a program. It became a haven. One girl wrote a monologue that made the whole room cry. Another wrote a short scene about a mother who never said I love you out loud, but showed it through food and silence. Each voice was different. Each story mattered. Anna read every single one. Sometimes late into the night, sometimes crying softly as she turned the pages. One day a girl named Layla, who had barely spoken since the workshop started, handed Anna a notebook. Can you read mine? She asked. Anna opened it slowly. The first page said only one sentence. I didn't think I was allowed to dream until now. Anna looked up, tears in her eyes. You are, she said. And I can't wait to see how far your dreams go. Media started asking questions. Is this a side project? Is Keanu funding it? Why not make it bigger? But ain't it kept? Her answer's simple. We're not trying to be big, she said. We're trying to be real. Keanu said even less. Let the stories speak for themselves. Then something unexpected happened. A network executive contacted Anna. We saw what you're doing with the quiet light, they said. We'd like to produce a documentary, one that follows these girls. Their stories, your story, how this all came to life. Anna hesitated. She didn't want to exploit anyone. She didn't want to turn something sacred into something polished, but when she brought it up to the girls, they surprised her. Rumi spoke first. If our voices can help someone else feel seen, we want to share. Anna agreed in one condition. You tell the story, not me. Filming began quietly. No scripts, no fake scenes, just real girls, real moments, real words. Keanu appeared only. Once in the footage, sitting with Rumi under the tree, reading her latest script, he smiled and said, You made me cry with this one. Rumi grinned. Good. Anna didn't narrate the film. She appeared in it, yes, but mostly in the background. Helping, listening, laughing. The documentary was called In the Quiet We Rise. Months later, it premiered at a small independent festival. The room wasn't filled with celebrities. It was filled with the girls Layla. Are you Am I Mari, Sophia? They sat in the front row, dressed in their own style, holding hands as the lights dimmed. Anna sat beside them. Keanu sat behind. When the film ended, the room was silent. Then came the applause. Not for Anna, not for Keanu, for the girls, the real stars. The stories that were never supposed to be heard. After the screening, a journalist approached. Anna, did you ever imagine this moment? She asked. Anna shook her head, tears in her eyes. No, I only imagined surviving the silence. I never thought we'd build something out of it. The journalist leaned in. What's next? Anna smiled, turning toward the girls. They are. Yes. The night ended. Anna stood outside, watching the stars. Keanu walked over and stood beside her. You started something, he said. We did, Anna corrected. He smiled. They'll carry it further than we ever could. Anna nodded. That's the hope. Keanu looked at her quiet. You know, he said slowly, the first time I clapped for you, it wasn't on stage. Anna turned, surprised. No, he said. It was after that early morning shoot. You gave everything in one take. The whole crew ignored it. But I sat in my car afterward and just clapped alone. Anna's breath caught. Why didn't you tell me? 'Cause it wasn't about you hearing it. It was about me meaning it. She reached out and took his hand. I heard it anyway, she whispered. The letters didn't stop. Months after the documentary aired, In the Quiet We Rise became something more than a film. Schools requested screenings. Libraries held discussions. Theater programs across the world began asking how they could start their own versions of The Quiet Light. Anna sat in her kitchen, a familiar place now filled with unfamiliar joy. She poured tea into a simple mug and stared at a stack of new envelopes on the table. One was from a prison theater program in Montreal, another from a deaf high school in Taiwan, another handwritten in purple marker from a 9-year-old girl who wrote, I want to tell stories like yours, even if no one listens yet. Anna pressed her hand to her chest. She didn't know how to hold so much gratitude. Then her phone buzzed. It was Keanu. Text, "Want to come for a walk?" Hill Trail. 4 p.m., like old times? Anna smiled and typed back. Text, "See you there?" The trail was quiet as always. They walked slowly. The sky above them streaked with the early gold of sunset. Birds chirped lazily. Dry leaves crunched beneath their steps. Neither spoke for a while. Then Keanu said, "It's been a year." Anna nodded. "I know. A year since the crowd only cheered for me." Anna looked over and you stopped them. Keanu smiled. "It feels like a different lifetime." Anna's voice was soft. "Sometimes I still replay that moment in my head, not because of the cheers, but because of what came after." "You changed after that," he said. "You gave me the space too," she replied. They stopped at a familiar rock near the top of the trail. From there, the whole city stretched beneath them, small, sparkling, distant. As if the world could finally be seen from a safe place. "Do you regret it?" Anna asked. "Stepping back that night?" Keanu turned to her. "Not for a second. Even though some people said it made you look weak," he chuckled. "Then they don't know what strength looks like." Anna looked out at the sky. "Taught me that." Keanu shook his head. "You always had it. Just didn't have someone holding the mirror steady." A few weeks later, Anna was invited to join the board of a major arts organization. They wanted her voice on youth programs, storytelling grants, and global outreach. It was the kind of position usually reserved for people twice her age. But she had already shown the world what leadership could look like, Evan, without shouting. She accepted, and with her first project, she launched Light Circle's global storytelling. Pods led by young women who had gone through the Quiet Light workshops. It spread quickly in Kenya. A girl named Ayana wrote a play about growing up with a father who never hugged her, but always fixed her shoes in Argentina. 2 sisters co-wrote a short film about food as memory in a small village in Nepal. 3 teenage girls started the first all-female radio show, sharing stories written by women in their town. Anna read every story that reached her desk, and with each one, she felt something she never thought she'd feel again. Home. On the 1-year anniversary of the film's premiere, studio held a special event. It wasn't a red carpet. Not this time. It was a small theater. No flash, no press, just a screening. And after the lights came up, the director stood at the front and said, "Tonight is not about fame. It's about impact." He turned to Anna. "This story was written in your footsteps," he said. "We just had the honor of following them." Anna stood, unsure what to say. Then she felt Keanu's hand gently squeeze her shoulder. And in that moment, something came full circle. A few days later, Anna received an invitation. It was from a girl named Maya, the same Maya, who had written to her a year earlier after the press conference. She was starting college, and her school was hosting a storytelling night. Maya had written, "I want to share my story, but only if you'll be there to hear it." Anna flew out without hesitation. The event was held in a small hall on campus, maybe 30 people in the audience. No lights, no cameras, just stories. Maya stood on stage, holding a folded paper. Her hands trembled. Then she looked out, saw Anna in the front row, and breathed. She read her piece of story about a girl who thought she had to disappear to be loved, who stayed quiet so she wouldn't break things, who was seen one day by a stranger on a screen, and who began to believe her words could matter. When she finished, the room was silent. Then came the clapping, not wild, but deep. Fulton wiped her cheeks and stood up, clapping too, and for the first time, Maya smiled without hiding her face. Later, as they hugged goodbye, Maya whispered, "You were the first to hear me." Anna held her close and said, "Now it's your turn to hear others." As the seasons passed, Anna kept writing, kept traveling, kept listening. She still acted films, plays, voice work. But everything felt different now. Her heart wasn't looking for applause anymore. It was listening for quiet stories. Stories like hers, stories like yours. One evening, years later, she sat by a fire with Keanu, older now, wiser, still calm. He handed her a notebook. On the front, it said, "For the ones no one clapped for yet." "What's this?" she asked. I've been working on, he said. Collection. Reflections. Memories. Lessons. For who? He looked at her. For whoever needs it next. She opened the first page, and it read, It started the night they only cheered for me, and I realized. The real power is in the moment you step aside and lift someone else into. The light Anna closed the book, tears in her eyes. You never stopped clapping for others, she said. Neither did you, he replied. They sat in silence. No noise, no cameras, just peace. And two souls who once stood on a stage together and decided to make space for others to rise.